Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It is January 17th, 2025. Let's go ahead and take a look at what happened here yesterday. So, again, very rarely do we come in and say it was a total disaster, right? There was some really good stuff that happened yesterday. So we talked about yesterday expecting the market to pull back. However, on the pullback, we did mention that right around the 59.85 level and right around 50% of last week, down around, say, 56 to 60, were the two areas that made the most sense for a larger bounce. And so when we came in, I was able to get that first short off. As you can see, coming into the open, I think we saw this in the review yesterday. They came right into the pocket, and in the overnight session, they basically held, again, right within a couple, 2 or 3 points of that level, bouncing at the lower end of that range and then bouncing right off the previous daily close. And then we came right into the open. And as we were testing the first roadmap level, there was actually a bearish divergence right before the market opened there. So you did have an opportunity to try and fade that. And you should have been able to make some money on the way down. And then you can see, again, we tested and then got our first larger pullback from there. I did try a short down here to see if we would, again, kind of stair step off the levels and hold that first previous daily close and then come in right into the next major level and get some type of bounce, even if it was just enough for a 2, 4, 5 point scalp off the level, maybe back up into the previous daily close or up into the 200. And of course, didn't quite work out for me. So I actually stopped trading around there because I had some other things I was doing and just didn't have time to pay attention to putting trades on. But great opportunity to short out of the open, holding our first roadmap level again. The amount of risk you had to take on this trade was 1 point max. And then from there, it sold off from 6,002, our roadmap level, all the way down to 59.73. So you could have made almost a 30-point pullback, hopefully taking profit in the first zone of expected support and then maybe right in front of that next roadmap level. So on the way down here, there was a nice little opportunity to fade the back end of the previous daily close with divergence. Again, didn't get very far. And then, again, it just petered out here. And this is why, so I was watching the market and I had gotten short originally. I tried a long, got stopped on it, and then I was just being patient, waiting for maybe the market to come down into the next major zone down at 50%, or maybe get a really nice clean signal off the next roadmap level or this level here, and didn't quite have anything. And I just was patient, and then it just kind of did this. And I was watching it kind of going, okay, are we going to go back into one of these low volume chop sessions? And sure enough, that's what happened there for a very long time. Right? And that's why I stopped trading. I stopped looking for trades because I wanted to get some type of movement out of this area, and it wasn't happening. But as you can see, still respecting that lower roadmap level. So we came in, of course, they had to kind of stop hunt some people who maybe tried a long like I did back here, and then they held it. So they came to it to the tick, and that was kind of the last stand, and then it brought it right to the next major roadmap level where we pulled back. Right, so this is the thing, guys. And I was watching someone else who I guess trades just with a grid. So he throws a grid up. It's like every 10 points, and he just trades from one grid level to the next, right? And that's what you can do with this strategy is you can basically ride this stuff. If you know the market's going to hold this level, it's most likely coming to the next major grid or the next major scaffolding at 6,001. And if it can't hold from there and it breaks through, we're more than likely coming to the next major scaffolding level, right? And then same thing here. If it doesn't hold this scaffolding level, which it did, it bounced and came right up to the next one. And you could trade from back and forth from these major roadmap levels. So here it holds, comes to the next major roadmap level. And again, if it's going to hold, it's most likely going to come up to the next one, which is right here. And if this area holds, we're most likely coming back to this one, right? And then you can see, and then it holds from here, and then it comes back to this one, right? And then it holds from there, and then we try to come back, and then we fail through and come right to the next roadmap level. So you know that if you get through this roadmap level, there's a pretty good possibility we're eventually going to be coming into that next pocket, right? So you can trade back and forth from these areas, and that's kind of how I think of it. And now that I've watched a couple of videos on this grid trading, it has piqued my interest more to throw on a couple extra contracts and just hold for the entire push from one major roadmap level to the next. And that's our S&R levels that are these dotted lines, and then these dashed white lines, which are our major scaffolding areas. And you can just see all day long, we're holding one major scaffolding level, stepping up to the next one, right? And it's not perfect every single time, but for the most part, we do see it's actually near perfect pretty often, okay? So again, you see all this chop, we come in right into the roadmap level, pull back off of it, get a bounce off that next roadmap level, bullish divergence, but it fails at that 50% retrace of that small little push, and then comes down right to the next roadmap level where we get the bounce again, expecting it to come back to this one, and ideally back up to the next one. Unfortunately fails out, comes down to the next roadmap level, and it steps down into here. We get a nice bullish divergence. Let me look at this real quick. Let's scrutinize this just a little bit here. I don't want to say something that's not true. Yeah, and so you get that. This is such, I love this pattern here where you get a low into a major level, whether it's a moving average or one of our scaffolding or SNRs. You get the second test, which is just within a tick or two of the low, and you get that pattern right there on the RVI, right? So you get a divergence right off the level, and then from there, never comes back. And this is what I mean about finding trades that have pretty much less risk than 2 points on any level we try, and could end up becoming a 100-point push. So we're talking about risk that could be 100 to 1 here. Could profit 100 times what you're risking. And it's not out of the realm of reality here. It happens pretty much every day. You just got to kind of catch that one swing. And sometimes you do. I don't know how many mornings I come in and the high of the day is my first short, right? Or the low of the day is my first long, because I'm targeting my entries right off of very specific structure zones in the market where it's most likely going to hold. Doesn't mean every time, and there's going to be days. There'll be some days where it just kind of meanders back and forth and it just chops the shit out of you. But that's kind of the nature of the market. It's never going to be the perfect conditions every day for your strategy. And that's just the nature of the beast. You have to kind of know when to calm down a little bit, right? Like I saw yesterday as we started to coil up and just kind of chop inside of this little pocket. Like, okay, I'm not interested in trading. Even if I could get a trade off of the roadmap level, I think it's a little bit more risky, right? Because we're kind of chopping, not going anywhere. And sometimes I might miss out on the low of a major move or the high of a major move, but that's trading. So as you can see, we came down, we held the roadmap level, and then we continued in the bearish direction. So it took a very long time. And again, our bias yesterday was for the pullback. We just weren't sure where the bulls were going to jump back in for the larger bounce. So we pulled back eventually. It took a long time here. And again, meandered back and forth between these roadmap levels. And then finally came down right into the next one. We get the bounce. We chop back and forth inside of the two roadmap levels. Again, long from here, take profit. Short from there, take profit at the next one. And then they come and they start to step up. And then this is the beginning of the deeper pullback, I believe. So eventually it steps down and we do get another lower low for the day, which was the expectation. Unfortunately, only got right to the next roadmap level, which in this case, guys, this is not like an official level on our news report. This is a level we just put on the charts because on shorter time frames, in between the major scaffolding and support and resistance levels, this looked like a notable little scalp type level to trade. And sure enough, that was the low of the day. So again, we're nailing these rotations within a tick or two and sometimes to the tick. And this is why I tell you, if you can find a couple positions and, hey, you're going to get stopped out once in a while or you're going to get break-even trades. But every once in a while, you're going to get that entry that is the low of the next 100-point bounce. And hopefully, if you have a couple contracts on, you can take a 15-point winner, a 20-point winner, and again, maybe even enter in again when you have a pullback into a notable level with divergence. So that's how the cookie crumbled yesterday. High of the day, right out of the open to the tick, basically, was our roadmap level. Low of the day wasn't the official roadmap level, but it was a level on the charts. If you were here trading with us, watching the charts, that was the next support. Before we got into, and notice, this was the next major area of expected support. They come just in front of it there, and now here we are. However many points higher, 40, 50 points now, 60 points. So on the way up, what do we have? We have some beautiful long opportunities and short opportunities throughout the overnight session. So let's look at the first opportunity here. As we came into the Globex session, we pulled back right to the VWAP and the fast moving average and the roadmap level. You could have had faith in the roadmap level itself. You could have had faith in the divergence on the pullback, and you could have faith that we were holding above VWAP, right? So there were some clues to buy. If you bought from 77.75, the roadmap level, you quite literally took on 3 ticks of risk, and you got yourself, I don't know, at least a 10-pointer up to 89, right? That was over 10 points, right to the previous daily high, okay? And then it came back, so I probably would have been stopped on the rest of my position, but came right back to the level. You got another bullish divergence. It held the level and then kept going. So if you held on to that position from here, whether you got in here or you got in here, that was 77, and now we're all the way up at 60.25, right? So we've got a 50-point push with 3 ticks of risk. As it kept going, or actually, I'm sorry, let me just point this out. There was a short opportunity right off the roadmap level coming into Globex. So Globex held the VWAP on the way up, right? Came into that roadmap level with a bearish divergence, and that was that first major pullback of the Globex session. Okay, so there's a great short, there's the great long, and here is, once again, if you're trading back and forth from these levels, the short off the level into the next level, and then again, if the bulls are going to be strong from this level, this to this. So you could have traded it both ways and then left that runner for the breakout to take profit up off this one and would have actually grabbed that as well, right? So there's just so much opportunity here, guys. And then as it kept going, there's the next bullish divergence off of the next roadmap level. Unfortunately, it was 1 freaking tick in front of it this time, or 2 ticks in front and 2 ticks in front of the last major swing that we were pulling back into. So I wouldn't have been filled if I had my entry in there, but it was another great opportunity with divergence within a tick or two of major level and then the last major swing high that we broke through and then kept going, right? So here we are coming into the open now. They continue to just rip through all these levels. Here's another pullback to a roadmap level with a bullish divergence. Again, a little bit aggressive, but still, if you're watching this and we're breaking out to new highs, there's the pullback. There's the glaring bullish divergence compared to the last swing low here. So again, getting in, maybe saying, hey, I'll just be wrong below the swing there at 08 half, get in at 09 half, and bam, you're up to the next roadmap level. Again, now here in the last couple minutes, some decent bullish divergences on this pullback to the FMA that are now pushing through. Okay, so lots of great opportunity. These are the type of trades I love the most. These pullbacks into an area where there's a roadmap level, there's a moving average, there's a whole bunch of other stuff. You get in, you know you're wrong within 2 points of the area, and you could potentially make a nice big full winning trade in the overnight session. All right, so that is it, my friends. Let's go ahead and jump up to the higher time frames now, and we'll see what the charts are saying for this morning.